following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Fuck these bitch ass Mars. 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 They ain't got no life.
Hey guys, welcome back to Dark Side. Jesus Christ, I already fucked up the intro. Welcome back to the Dork side of the ring. We're off to a great start. I am your host, Rad Rob Francois, joined by my co-host, the one and only most handsome man in Ireland, host of It's Hughezy Hello on the Creative Control Network, and as I've said many, many times, the real talent of Get My Go. It is the one and only Hughezy, Adam Hughes. What's going on, brother?
Hello, sailor.
Good to see you, man. You're such a... God, look at his eyes. You're so beautiful, I'm telling you. We are joined by a very special guest today. A very good friend of mine, which people are going to hate me just for that, just by saying that.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's a little polarizing, to say the least. He's got so many different projects and podcasts. I'll let him tell you about all that. But it's the one and only, everybody's favorite on Twitter, Mr. Bradley Shepard. Bradley, what's going on, brother?
How's it going? You know, vaginal versus anal used to be controversial. Now what's controversial is wrestling opinions like women's wrestling sucks, which it does. Go figure.
Yeah, imagine that.
Well, that being said, vaginal versus anal is a debate. Bianca Belair has my number.
She has my number 2 as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'd like to just start off by saying hello to 2 people. One, to the great J Rance for letting us use his theme. We forgot to thank him last time. And another to basically another guy who may be the greatest writer that's ever lived. Shakespeare ripped them off. Scorsese, well, he didn't even write that much, never mind. I want to say hello to Sean Ross Sapp, the legitimate toughest guy that's ever lived. He makes Rambo look like James Corden. This guy can go. For example, there's a thing that Jericho did on a TV on AEW where he said something like, America's top team, who's on top? Which in the eyes of Sean Ross Sapp means that Chris Jericho hates gay people. From saying that, there you go. Yeah, there's the snowflake alarm. So Keeping It 100, you can find them on Keeping It 100 Official on YouTube. Don't forget to spam the comment section and drop a few likes. Sean Ross Sapp, that we did a video about it, and we spoke about how he's soft and all this shit and an attention seeker. He then came after me in my DMs going, he's like, do you have something you want to say to me? All this shit went on and expected an apology. And to show that he wasn't an attention seeker online, he then went on a 48-hour tirade where he sought attention at all counts. So, Sean Ross Sapp, you proved me right. Keeping 100 got a shitload of free publicity from someone like you. And the only person that lost was Bianca Belair.
Bradley, you have a special relationship with Mr. Sapp. You want to let everybody know your interactions with him, especially on Twitter, as of recent months?
Well, he's an insecure, stupid bastard. And so let me start with some of the more recent stuff. Sean has me blocked on Twitter. So one of his MOs is to tweet me or slide into my DMs and say insulting things, and then he will reblock me before I can respond to him. Very, very tough stuff there. But yeah, you know, Sean tries to discredit me at every turn. That's his goal because he doesn't like me. And he tells this very weird sort of sob story how Brad used to be a nice guy. And now he's playing a character for attention because things didn't work out. Things didn't work out. I'm the one who broke the XFL coming back. Things didn't work out. Are you fucking stupid? Things didn't work out. It was an explosion of my journalism career. Yeah, it worked out very well, asswipe. So, yeah, so Sean tries to kind of discredit me whenever he can, make sure other people won't hire me. It's blackballing, right? By people who have 2-inch dicks. I mean, that's really what this comes down to. And they don't like that I won't be part of their circle jerk. They don't like that I won't pretend that women's wrestling is the best fucking thing ever when it sucks. They don't like that I say wrestlers should look like wrestlers instead of, I don't know, Kevin Owens and Marco Stunt. Ooh, hot take there, huh? They don't like my opinion, so they do what they can to shut me down. Fuck them.
Yeah, you know, I've noticed that happening to you on Twitter. I've seen Sean Ross Sapp tweet you many times, and you've told me in private that he has you blocked. We've talked about him, for a while now. I personally can't say anything bad about him as far as how he's treated me. I had him on the show a couple of years ago. We had a great conversation, but it's really before he came out and got real snowflakey on Twitter. I mean, he really started to show his true colors, especially last year during the scamdemic. He really came out as just this fucking virtue signaling keyboard warrior SJW douchebag. And I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
I never had the interaction with him, but just seeing the way he acts now publicly has really changed my attitude about him. Hughezy, do you ever see you and SRS making up and having some kind of relationship?
Absolute zero reason to have any type of interaction with him, simply because one of the things about some types of these journalists is it's great for clickbait if you're interviewing them, but he has become, there was an article, I guess you call it an article or a post or whatever he made about a week ago where he spoke about how the WWE and Fox don't get along or are in a very bad position.
I saw that, yeah.
Then in the second paragraph, he wrote about how WWE and Fox are in a good position. So Sean Ross Sapp is basically writing this fake news and writing in basic loopholes so that he can't get sued, yet he still has a fan base that donates some money. It's fucking, I can't understand what's going on in the world. Like, how can you write about donate money to someone who you know is very likely lying to you?
Yeah.
It's a cult. That's why.
And there's a lot of those in wrestling. I mean, whether it's the dirt sheet marks, whether it's the Russo marks, the Cornette marks. I mean, it's just, it's the nature of the business, really. Brad and I were talking off air. People take this shit way, way too seriously. I mean, Brad has these troll accounts that have his picture on it with some sort of a swastika on it, or some piece of shit or something, and just waste their time tweeting about Brad over wrestling. It's just, I mean, politics is one thing because that lines up with your morals and values, but
Rob, I just want you to know, Dave Bautista, he is very, very, very bigly pro-choice. It is my body, my choice for abortion because he wants women to be able to kill babies inside them. But when it comes to the vax, you better get the jab. Sorry, that may cancel us. We may be kicked off all the platforms of people who can watch this podcast, but that's just the way it is. I got to keep it 100.
But keep it 100 official on YouTube, by the way. But the one of the things with Bautista, I love how high and mighty he is, and to be fair, he did do that great thing recently where he adopted that dog that had been tortured and abused, so that was good. He also wrote in his book about how he cheated on his wife while she was going through cancer because she couldn't have sex with him. This is the fucking the high and mighty guy who, by the way, as soon as Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out next year, or 2023, he's done. He's going to be a mid-50s muscle guy who's off steroids, that can't work out anymore without the backing of Disney. His career's finished.
Oh, it's not finished, Hughezy. He's going to go here. Wait for it. Okay, so if you don't know what it is, that's the AEW Open. Nobody watches it, so I didn't expect you guys to know what that
I literally had no fucking idea what that was.
Nobody else. Well, 600,000 to 700,000 people probably do. But anyway, he's going to go to AEW, just like all the other washed up wrestlers, and get a pretty decent paycheck for working a limited amount of dates. And I'm sure that's where he'll end up once his movie career is over.
But I have a question that involves AEW and the dirt sheets and political stuff. Not to go on a long rant, but I think one of the things that's really, really been hammered home over the last few years is the whole idea of representation. And to be fair, I get it, because you can't really just have white, and expect everybody to fucking get along and for to track all audiences in the world. The dirt sheet writers love to call out WWE for sexist stuff, or racist angles, or not having enough representation, all this shit. Fair enough. But then if you look at AEW, it's fucking whiter than Kim Kardashian's, teeth. I don't know. That's one of my hilarious improvisations there. Everyone will hold their laughter and we'll continue on with the show. It's full of white people that even literally at one point had a blonde-haired, blue-eyed cowboy walking around with a noose around his neck. There's no Asian wrestlers, males in AEW, I think. The only Hispanics that I know of are the lucha ones at LAX, who never seem to be used very well. I don't think there's been a non-white main event since they started in 2019, and they just keep hiring cracker after cracker after cracker. So the question I've got for you, Brad and Rob, why are AEW not getting called out by these social justice warrior journalists for the fact that they seemingly don't want to employ black people or push black wrestlers?
Simply put, they are all the same fan base. It is all the same demographic.
Yeah, I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, yeah, they have Jade Cargill, but I mean, she's green as goose shit. They have Nyla Rose. I mean, he sucks. Who's the other one? Little Swole, Big Swole, whatever the fuck her name is. The touted draft pick that they got a couple years ago. That was one of the best female wrestlers in the world. That's Powerhouse Hobbs, whatever the fuck his name is, just fought CM Punk last week on
Rampage. But he just lost to CM Punk, Rob. That's huge.
Oh yeah, now
true. We've got to ignore everything because they actually had a wrestler in a match, on TV. But he lost, but it's okay because he was in a match.
That's right.
That's the standard now.
Yeah.
AEW stands for all white employees at the minute. Or no, is it all employees are white? Or did I get the letters wrong?
I mean, you're a little dyslexic, but it's fine. We're used to it.
It's fine.
But with the AEW, I would love to know why. Like someone pointed out that there hasn't been an Asian champion since Bautista, which fair enough. But what about but they've had a lot of Samoan wrestlers. They've recently had a couple of African American wrestlers doing well. The women's division is pretty much it's as diverse as fuck, frankly.
Yeah.
Brad's favorite matches. The whole point is that I just don't understand why the dirt sheets, especially with stuff like Dark Side of the Ring, can be going so hard at the WWE for shit that they did before and currently aren't, but AEW are now doing.
Because they're the good guys. That's what you need to understand, Hughezy.
Mm-hmm.
They can do and say whatever they want because they have the right opinion, and they're the good guys. And so that's okay when they do something they shouldn't. But if you do, that's a fucking problem we've got to address immediately.
Yeah, and another thing, what's the WWE event that's coming up? Crown Jewels in Saudi Arabia. They all you ever see is people going, "Oh, they're taking the Saudi blood money," and it's like, where'd the cons get their fucking money from? Flipping burgers? I'm pretty sure that the Khan family may possibly have some sort of heritage back to, I don't know, Scotland, something like that. And I just think that the double standards are blowing up. And you've got to love Dave Meltzer. How the fuck, oh my God, how has he not been caught out and specifically exposed yet? Like it's becoming, it's not even subtle anymore. Like the advertisers where you could buy the tickets.
Yeah.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Meltzer has to be the biggest mark, or the biggest AEW mark there is. And we always wondered if the boys were just, ribbing him. Like if the Bucks and Omega were just fucking with him, like acting like they're his friends, just because they could just fucking laugh at him, afterwards, because he's such a fucking mark. For a guy who's been, quote, in the business for the last 40 years or so, is more cringe than anybody else. And I mean, there's a lot of fuckheads when it comes to the dirt sheets. I mean, don't forget about Keller. Don't forget about SRS, fucking Bix and Span and, God damn it, what the fuck? God damn it, Hughezy, your eyes are so blue. Completely forgot what I was saying.
I did not know that Bix and Span actually looked like that. I thought that was a meme.
Oh, you mean the dorky? Yeah, I never saw him before either.
He looks like he's in a fancy dress costume as a mark. He looks like Freddy Krueger at Woodstock.
Yeah, he does. He looks horrible. Like I didn't know which one was him when that recent meme came out of him meeting somebody, a game changer. I didn't know which one was the wrestler and which one was the writer, but apparently he was the dorkier looking one. But you want to talk about a keyboard warrior, man? That guy is fucking insane.
He looks evil. That's how disgusting he is. Like he looks like the boss level of a Sega Mega Drive game.
He looks like a typical wrestling fan. Like if you want to take a stereotypical wrestling fan, if you're looking up on Wikipedia, it would be him. He's like the fucking who's the retard that jumps off, like that superhuman guy that just fucks himself up, jump on attacks and all that.
I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, I can't either. But I can see that being Bix. I can see him doing one of those, fucking stunts.
Apparently, Superhuman's no fan of the African American either, based on apparently past tweets. But Bix and Span looks like he was created from farts. Somebody came in some farts, and then he was born and right into the lap of Tony Khan. But the thing is, Brad, within the industry of the writers, is there this reputation that or is it known that a lot of these people are on the payroll?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
Yeah, because that's the thing. So why is it that so many people within the industry know, but the fans don't, and they really genuinely think? Like I keep saying this word, AW momentum. And it's like, but like they may have sold out the venue, the big tennis venue, whatever the fuck it's called. But then
Thrash, yeah.
But then GOC, I watch her videos, and I've got it on good confirmation. She is over 21, so any comments are still inappropriate, but not fucking illegal. She posted a video on her latest video on her wrestling channel that showed photograph and video evidence that during the Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega match, it wasn't sold out.
Yeah.
And there was a ton of empty seats, and there was nobody in the VIP boxes. Then Billy Body, who everybody gets along with very well, reported that some of those tickets were going on sale for $8.
Yeah. That's one of the things that keeps happening with AEW ticket sales. They're going for less than WWE, and the scalpers are buying some, but then I think some of the shows are like $5 tickets. They're really lowering it so that they can get the appearance of, hey, we sold out. Yeah, I mean the tickets were $5, but we sold out.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like the AEW fans keep saying, "Oh, the numbers don't matter and the ratings and shit don't matter." Because at the minute, WWE, not that they're breaking records, but they are in a better place that they have been compared to last year, anyway. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit, I'm a complete, as you can see the name here, I'm a total mark for this Roman Reigns storyline. On a level that I'm tempted to buy the T-shirt, even though I'm never going to wear it. I just want it. In fact, I'm going to order it during this particular.
There's a girl right there. Okay.
Yeah, she's
pretty hot.
Who is this?
The girl on Cinema. From
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen some of her tweets.
But the thing about her that's great is she had a video because all these AEW fans were giving her shit about fuck you don't know what you're talking about, all this shit. So she then goes straight onto her stream and did a whole AEW review, burying it while wearing a bikini.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And it got thousands and thousands of views. She probably made at least $1,000 off it. She's a smart ass bitch.
And now she got OnlyFans. So, I mean, how dumb are everybody else paying like $50 to see her ass? I mean,
yeah, and she's also probably not pretending like, she's got some great business skill outside of that's superior. I mean, it's like women's wrestling. Oh yeah, we're going to have an OnlyFans because our wrestling doesn't pay the bills, and we know it really does. And then it's like, but if you say that, oh yeah, I'm going to take you super serious. Yeah, you're a super serious wrestler. Yeah, okay, and I'm going to pay $12 to see your pussy. Like, yeah, on OnlyFans. Yeah, that's great. But I'm supposed to take you super seriously. Of course. Very serious athlete.
I mean, I like GOC, Adam, because she's actually smart. I mean, she's a new wrestling fan last year, but she brings up very, very good points about what she watches. She's very observant, and she knows how to articulate that. And the marks can't stand that, number one, a girl is smarter than they are. But number two, that she's talking about their beloved AEW. It's just the line of demarcation is so just apparent. Either WWE or your AEW, and apparently you're not allowed to like both. You have to be on one side or the other, like North and South, like the Civil War. It's very, very, it's a very weird time. I don't care what people say. It's not the best time to be a wrestling fan when you look at the ratings and you look at the numbers of tickets sold. Just because there's more promotions and there's more wrestling on TV doesn't mean that it's good, right, Brad?
Absolutely. I mean, there is a core audience that's always going to watch, right? So you can start a company like AEW, and there's that core audience that loves that indie style that is always going to watch. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, right now we got Impact Wrestling getting about 100,000 people watching their show. I mean, really? And when I'll tell you that story off air, but they don't seem to be very receptive to feedback either. No, so it's like, like a lot of these wrestling companies, when you present an idea that's outside of the mark box, they don't want to hear it. It could be offensive. You've never taken a bump before, or you have bad opinions, or whatever it is. They don't listen, and they continue to do the same things that are not drawing, that are not working. I always kind of relate it to this. When I was in college, in Monday night, in the dorm room, the common space, we had a TV, and we would watch, my friends and I, WCW Nitro and WWE Raw, right? And we would flip back and forth. Why? Well, I mean, wrestling was cool. Yep. People had wrestling T-shirts. How many people have Johnny Gargano T-shirts walking around in public? Exactly fucking zero. The guy wore his goddamn NXT championship belt to Universal, and nobody realized him. Nobody knew who he was.
They just thought he was another wrestling fan with the,
just another geek, like another wrestling fan, a 5'6", 140-pound wrestling fan. A championship mark.
You can't make that shit up. I mean, that's sad. Like, dude, even when I saw Jamie Noble and Crash Holly walk down the street in Worcester, I was there for Backlash. I want to say
2 seconds,
2003. They were small guys, but I knew who they were, right? Because one, they're on another level. They're on a bigger platform. Mm-hmm. Everybody knew who you were in the WWE, especially during that time when wrestling was still good. But I know Johnny. I've had interactions with him. Even if I watched him walk down the street and I wasn't really paying attention, I probably wouldn't know who he was either. And that's the state that we're in today.
And I certainly wouldn't think he could ever beat me up in a real fight.
Yeah, wow.
Which, it's like, again, where is that era of believability?
Right.
It doesn't have to be true. You can look like you can beat me up. That's all I care about. Mm-hmm. It's fake. The fights are fake. But I need you to have that presentation that matches your character. If you're a tough guy that fights everybody, you can't look like Kevin Owens.
Right. I mean, look at
this is not rocket science.
No, I know. I mean, look at Bret Hart. Bret Hart was what, 5'10", 5'11", maybe, 230 pounds, depending if he took steroids or not.
Yeah.
But he looked believable. He looked like a wrestler. He looked like he was somebody. He looked like he was a star, and his shit was believable.
Very believable. Yeah, absolutely. There isn't that in ring work today. Nobody knows how to throw a punch.
Right.
Everything is a choreographed flip, 2, 3, 4. They're counting it in their head as they do the moves like Cirque du Soleil. It's just totally not understanding the history of the business and what works, what gets over, what makes everybody the most money, and what 20 people in person are going to like, and maybe a few marks on Twitter.
Right. Well, I mean, look at Hughezy. I mean, he's only 21, 22 years old, but he he loves the Roman Reigns stuff because he knows, number one, Roman Reigns looks like he's somebody. He looks like he's a fucking star. He's a big guy. He's believable. He's got charisma. He's got personality. He's got a fantastic look, and they're writing compelling storylines. So right off the bat, just with all that right there, there's nothing in AEW that can touch what WWE is doing with Roman Reigns. Even if the rest of the show fucking sucks, and it pretty much does, I'm still compelled to go to YouTube and watch the clips of Roman Reigns because I stopped watching the shows weekly because I was getting tired of them insulting my fucking intelligence after being a fan for 35 years. That being said, I go to YouTube and watch the Roman Reigns stuff because it is fantastic. I'm going to watch Crown Jewel because I am looking forward to seeing Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, two legit fucking badass guys. More so than I would want to watch CM Punk and fucking anybody at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why? Who wants to pay to watch Johnny Gargano? A lot of wrestling today is catered too much to the marks. Mm-hmm. Even WWE does this. Not always, but God, stop listening to these people on Twitter with wrestlers as their profile picture with, he, him, and their profile. What the fuck? You're giving voice to these these room temperature IQ morons. No, ignore them like everybody in society does. That's what we should be doing with dumbasses like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Twitter gives them a fucking platform and gives them an ability to speak their mind when most of these people never should have made it past the fucking money shot. But
yes, and then you've got the Twitters, the people, the wrestlers on Twitter, Rob. They're looking to be put over by the fans on Twitter. Like they'll check, after their match. What did Meltzer say? Who cares what Meltzer said? Who cares what a 60-year-old man thinks of your wrestling match that's fake? Like, who cares?
And Meltzer's another of those guys that wishes he was in the business. Like, that's the problem with half of these dirt sheet writers is they're so pissed off and they're so jaded that they were never in the actual business, even though they say they were. And Meltzer to this day still has a chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's a big guy. He's a bodybuilder. I mean, he's got a decent look when he was younger. He had the mullet and all that shit. Like, I'm sure he wanted to be a wrestler, but obviously never had the skills to do it.
Just as an update, the Bloodline shirt has been ordered.
Nice.
Have you heard any of the rumored numbers that these guys are getting paid from AEW, the journalists?
I have not. I know, Tony Khan has some third party, marketing company that he owns. And, what I've heard is that is how they've been used to pay people. I mean, I did hear a long time ago, and I reported this, and no one, of course, reported on it or acknowledged it, but that Tony Khan at the time was co-opted by people like Dave and others and was providing his cell phone number. So he initiated very smartly this kind of co-opted media situation with the wrestling marks right away, which was very smart. Mm-hmm. Is there any integrity behind that? No, absolutely not. But he's doing it, and he knows he can work them and play them like a fiddle, and that's exactly what he's doing.
But how is that sustainable?
It's not at all, and that's his problem. Is he is catering to the Mark fan base, and so that's why he's able to do some of the things like sell a lot of CM Punk T-shirts. They all love CM Punk. They're all going to get the CM Punk T-shirt. But like you said, from a big picture perspective, wrestling is not popular enough, in particular in AEW, to make it long-term just catering to the marks. I mean, they're just not. They've thrown everything they could at the kitchen sink, the mark booking, hot-shotting everything.
The Grand Slam.
What does it get him? 1.2 something million?
Yeah.
Do you think that's good? That's a red flag to me.
According to Billy Body, Eric Bischoff has said before that AEW's budget is $100 million a year. And that Billy Body has said that every year AEW has been around, which is 2 or 3 now, they've actually gone 20 million over the allotted spending. So is it known to be that behind the scenes that as a company they're kind of in the shit?
There's a lot of things that will be coming out eventually about AEW and their locker room and some things that are going on. Yeah, I think people are aware of what's going on here. I mean, I really do. You know, it's just a matter of honesty with these folks.
There's no honesty among marks.
No, not at all.
Yeah, because Disco Inferno spoke about it on K100 this week. Got a lot of shit about a year ago or earlier this year when Brody Lee died.
Mm-hmm.
Disco's whole point was, well, what the fuck did he die from? And they said, oh, it was just a lung disease. It wasn't COVID. AEW and the dirt sheets had this real cover up of like, oh, we've had no COVID here.
Yeah.
Then I think it was earlier this year or whatever, they admitted, yeah, there was a COVID outbreak. Jericho had it. The Young Bucks had it. One of the Young Bucks wrestled while he had COVID, etc. Is there a chance, or should I say, has there been talk behind the scenes that Brody Lee did die from COVID?
You know, there's certainly rumblings of curiosity, like people feeling like maybe they don't know the whole story. I don't know exactly. I just know as a journalist, you should be asking those questions as what's going on. Would AEW cover up something like that? Hell yeah, they would, because that permanently buries their brand if they're honest about that, if that were to be the case. Yep. And I'm not saying it is. I'm saying those are the questions you should be asking. And, you know, you've got this Mark mentality where there is no real journalism. Everybody has the same opinion. Everybody supports these indie guys that are over with the marks, and you have to go along with the program or else.
Well, who is the quote dirt sheet journalist that got canceled because he spoke out about Brody having COVID?
Bruce Mitchell. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who I'm not a fan of.
No, not either.
But he got a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But apparently he wasn't on the payroll. So, I mean, you can't say that about him. It's pretty obvious that, you know, that Keller and Meltzer and, well, I don't know about Keller. Keller kind of sticks to his own thing, but
I know they're co-opting some others as well, so even some smaller ones to cater to specific demographics. Some wrestling accounts. Yeah, he is working people masterfully, and they're very easily worked. People can say whatever they want about wrestling today in the era of kayfabe. The fans are very easily worked today. It's very obvious.
So are the season ticket holders of the Jacksonville Jaguars, apparently.
Yeah, but the thing that I find so strange about it all is Jim Cornette himself said that back in 2019, Tony Khan tried to sign him to a contract to pretty much buy his silence or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. So Cornette has pretty much exposed the fact that Tony Khan tries to shut people down. He brought Conan into AEW. Conan didn't stop being like speaking his honest opinion on AEW, and LAX was used like shit. And I don't think Conan's been coming back to AEW. I think he won't talk to me, fucking bastard. But it's just there's so much behind the scenes shit on them that's out there and isn't being spoken about. But fucking news on Alexa Bliss not being able to sell Lily dolls is all over the fucking dirt sheets, and I just think that this is a absolute farce of shite.
Yeah.
So Brad, I mean that really goes back to the topic. Is AEW racist?
I'm not gonna say, okay, it's like if you've ever heard the joke, like, yeah, I'm not gay, but I'll hold one until the actual gay guy gets there.
Right.
So what I'm basically saying is I'm not gonna say they're racist, but they're kind of doing racist shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Raw, people always go on about the fact that New Day dances and fucks around, but that's what they do. Like, if you not they, I mean, that's what
they've had a 4 or 5 year run. As top guys. I don't give a fuck what they do. Like, they're over.
Yeah, and Xavier Woods is probably dancing right now. He posts photographs on his Instagram of him playing bass guitar with no shirt on, dancing. All that shit is his idea. And the thing is, they just had Bobby Lashley who is one of the most realistic wrestlers ever. Like, he looks like he's fucking murdering someone every time he throws a punch. He dropped the world belt, the Big E. That's 2 black men trading the title. No media coverage for that. The WrestleMania had Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. 2 black women trading the title. No media coverage for that. Yet fucking AEW is known as the PC company because they hired Sonny Kiss.
When's the last time you saw Sonny Kiss?
Exactly. What they've done nothing with him. They hired him because he's a gay black man. Is he a man or does he? What's the correct?
No, he's a man. He identifies as a man.
Oh yeah, he's a gay black man, and I think that they hired him simply for the optics. And so they can say, look, now here's Cody Rhodes versus Dean Ambrose.
But let me just not discredit Cody Rhodes, Martin Luther King, Talcum X here. This is the guy who's having the first biracial baby in wrestling history. Yeah, and he loves this country, goddammit.
Yeah. Liberty Rhodes.
Is that really what they named her?
Liberty.
Yeah, I can just see that. It's the marketing right there is genius.
But see, this is the thing that I think that it's strange that AEW don't get called out for that, because you do see some African American people on Twitter, and there's been a few Keeping 100 YouTube subscribers that have started to say, you know, it is a good point. Like Conan was talking this week about how good a look it is that you've got Bianca Belair on one channel, Roman Reigns is the top guy, and the Samoan wrestlers. Then on the other hand, you've got Big E and New Day feuding with Lashley in the Hurt Business. Not that makes up for everything, but it's not like they're not trying. But with AEW, it's going to be, they've got Bray Wyatt coming in. They've got fucking Kevin Owens coming in. Apparently, Sami Zayn's coming in. It's just all whites all over again, and visually and politically. Not that I'm like some type of liberal, but I think that that's not a good look, especially because I'm going to say the best film of 2021 is Shang-Chi, the Marvel one. We need more. I don't like. They need Bautista. I think was the last Asian wrestler in America to get a push. The last male one, anyway.
I mean, if it wasn't for Kenny Omega, you wouldn't have Japanese wrestlers in AEW. You know, you wouldn't have Shida. You wouldn't have Rio. You wouldn't have, I don't know, the couple fucks that just showed up at the last. I don't even know. They all look alike to me, but I don't know what their names were. But, you know, without him, it'd just be like 5 black people, a couple of Mexicans, and, you know, a bunch of crackers.
And that's the thing I don't get. And they do all this social justice shit, like we're going into business with Owen Hart's wife. It's like, okay, do you want to hire some black people? Maybe they could work at the Owen Hart Foundation. Like, what exactly are they going to do? They're going to be, they're going to sell merch from some Smoky Mountain, or what is it, the Calgary Wrestling Foundation footage, because WWE owns a lot of that stuff. So they have like 3 tapes worth. AEW has 3 tapes worth of Owen Hart matches to profit from.
Well, they're using
I don't see anyone. Yeah. I don't see it happening. And the thing that makes his wife extra dumb, the WWE has his entire fucking career.
Yeah.
Literally.
Library.
They literally have the ending of his career on tape. That's where you go and you take Vince McMahon's money and you take it off him and you run with it. You don't say, Tony Khan will help us because fucking Sonny Kiss will wear Owen Hart's skirt. Or bra.
It's very sad that Martha chose to go into business with them. I've had my personal thoughts about that on my own shows. I even called her a bitch on Facebook, and I got a ton of fucking heat for that. But, you know, in the end of the day, you know, that's her choice. It was her husband. Who gives a fuck what his blood relatives, you know, his actual brothers care about? You know, she's in charge of his estate, so she has that right. But even that's not going to move the needle. The Brody Lee stuff didn't move the needle. The Grand Slam. It was
a boring show.
It was a boring show. The Grand Slam, whole big, huge 2-day event, didn't gain them any extra viewers. It's just no matter what they do, It's the same audience, and all goes back to what Cody Rhodes said when AEW started. We are not going to cater to the casual wrestling audience. We are going to cater to our fan base. Those are literally his words.
Yeah, Brad. What was the reaction behind the scenes to the fact that Grand Slam, which was hyped up more than most pay-per-views, and to be honest, if I wasn't busy, I was out getting stoned at the cinema. I probably would have watched that show because card-wise, lineup-wise, it looked amazing. And then the results came in, and despite what they say, over 1 million, that's not a good result for a number that size. Like WWE are pulling in 2 million with a lot less interest in matches. So behind the scenes, what was the reaction to the fact that Grand Slam was nil pois?
Yeah, I mean, I think people do realize what AEW is. I mean, it's not real. It's not competition for WWE in the sense of, look, one is a company that's going to make $1 billion. One, just a couple months ago, they were saying they're operating in the red. Now they're saying, well, no, we're suddenly in a couple months profitable. So it depends on what Tony Khan's statement or Shad Khan's statement you believe. But at the end of the day, if they're profitable at all, it's not much. We know that. So when you compare these two businesses, and that's what this is, it's a business. It's a squash match. That's not a war.
The word I heard about the video game, which AEW is self-financed, which business-wise is a ridiculous move, because in this day and age, video games cost ridiculous. So, like, I heard that the new Spider-Man game that Miles Morales cost $200 million, and you could complete that in 12 hours. Like, that's not a big game to cost that amount of money. Somebody in the Keep 100 comments who knows about that shit said that this game will cost a minimum of $80 million. And if it's more than that, they'll need to sell 1.3 million copies to break even. And that's 1.3 million, what do they call it? Hard copies or consoles?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if people download it from the Xbox store, the PlayStation store, you get a discount. So it seems like AEW's game, unless they do break records, it's going to be a huge financial loss.
Yep. They don't care because it's a total mark who's running the company. And so he wants a video game where he's going to put Owen Hart in it, and he's going to have a fake match with Owen Hart in this AEW video game. He's probably going to be jacking off. We know that.
You know he'll be in the game.
He's going to be in the game. He'll probably pin the world champion. You know, he'll come out and he'll cut a promo. Giannis Yakatipku! I don't know if you saw that little clip where he's introducing Giannis from the Bucks. Mm-hmm. This guy's a goof. I hope I get to play as Tony Khan, and he has all those like spastic promos. I make the matches 1 week from Dynamite. You're gonna defend the title. I just want a character who can cut promos like that in this AEW video game, and I'll buy it.
One of the rumors I'd heard about Chris Jericho is that his contract was for something like $8 million a year, which, to be fair, he's Chris fucking Jericho. Like he has the ability to negotiate these kind of deals. Good for him. I wouldn't want to make $8 million. That's a lot less than what I'm doing now. I don't work for cheap. If apparently his deal's up in February 2022, me and Rob were saying that if Jericho re-signs, he could be getting nearly $10 million a year to wrestle. Do you think that's possible, or do you think that there's a chance that AEW may start to cut contracts?
Well, eventually, I think they do have to start cutting contracts. I mean, think of all the guys they have. Remember that librarian guy? What the hell's his name?
Peter something.
Yeah. When was the last time he was on Dynamite? I mean, they have so many guys like that. It's like, why are you signed to that company? It's a waste of fucking money.
Yeah, I think if you look at what's Dean Ambrose's name? I forgot his name.
John Moxley.
Yeah.
John Moxley. If I seen a video of him on Twitter the other day, that is not someone who's taking care of himself and is hitting the gym. He's gotten out of shape. And I remember reading that his contract was for something like $6 million a year. He's got to be at the point now where he looks at his finances and thinks, right, I only need to make a few thousand. Well, not a few thousand, but I only need to make this much per year for the rest of my life so that I don't have to break into my savings, which is possibly, say, $10 million. I think he officially doesn't give a fuck. And I would assume that if he's offered a bigger deal, he'd take it just because. But I also think that when he looks at the WWE and the fact that their top guy is the head of the table, Roman Reigns, my hero. I love Roman Reigns. I'm going to join the bloodline. Let's go, brothers. I think that part of him might think I need to get back to the WWE to do a series with Roman.
I think Jericho's got to return eventually. He's going to shill AEW while he works there. But I think at the same time, he doesn't want to completely sell out WWE because he wants to go back and probably be put in the Hall of Fame like a lot of those guys. What stands out to me, Hughezy, is how so many guys from WWE that signed with AEW, how they've been devalued as a wrestler or a brand since signing with AEW. Previously, FTR, for example. They were unhappy with how they were being used. They were on Raw every week. They're rarely wrestling right now, so that's happened with a lot of cases. And the roster's too big. I get that, but it's a serious problem. It is going to lead to a lot of people leaving eventually.
What's going on with the behind the scenes vibe with the dark side of the ring that ripped our name off? Because it really seems that, especially over the season 3, that it's gone from being a documentary series, which I haven't seen season 3 yet, just going from reports. I'll get around to it at some point. It seems to have gone from being a documentary series to fuck WWE and let's get...
Yes.
So behind the scenes, are people sort of talking about that? Because I seen a clip of the Chris Canyon one, and Jericho was talking about, WWE are bullies and the way they would treat him. And sometimes that makes me think, is if Jericho tried to come back, would they say, I think
if it's best for business that Vince would bring Jericho back ultimately.
Yeah.
The dark side of the ring thing to me is so stupid, and that's why I'm doing a new show called Bright Side of the Ring on the Big V Mafia, patreon.com/Big V Mafia for as low as $1 a month. There's my cheap plug. But we're talking about those sort of issues, Vito and I. It's very fascinating. I don't get it at all. I don't pretend to. It is what it is.
Yeah, I just think that it's getting to the point where, not that everybody, because it was a couple of weeks ago, Joe Feeney was on the Mike Durban show, and he made a good point. Where he said that it is getting to the point where the fans being so negative about pro wrestling, like it's getting out of control, and you can't hate everything. It's time to focus on the positives, but it really seems that nobody wants to do that. Like, apart from Roman Reigns, I haven't heard of anything that's getting praised by other people. I love Roman Reigns.
The deal is, these are stories that were legislated already. They're worked out 20 years ago. So it's not like this is a serious recent issue that needs the proper coverage, and Vice is being a responsible media outlet and doing that. They're digging up stuff that was already litigated from 20 years ago. And just coincidentally, the narrator is in AEW, and coincidentally, it's all about negative WWE. But don't dare ask those questions. Oh, by the way, David Bixenspan is a season 3 researcher of the show. He doesn't have any sort of bias at all. No?
None. No, not at all.
Do you think that, because according to Disco Inferno, Ric Flair in real life is not happy with people like Jim Ross and Jericho for the stuff that they said in the plane ride from hell episode? Is it safe to assume that his deal with AEW is off the table?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It cost him his deal with AEW, I was told. That he was going to be the consultant for Andrade, or whatever his fucking name is now. And that's why he had the deal where he had attacked Chavo. So that was what was going to happen. But obviously now, because of that, he's persona non grata. And it's just so stupid, I've got a robe too, by the way, that I just ordered. It's now arrived. And I plan on doing my own personal reenactment of the plane ride from hell with my wife.
Do you think, I remember hearing a story about Andrade months ago. I think there's a clip of it. Guess what I'm going to plug? Keeping 100 Official on YouTube, where apparently Andrade had been talking loudly about, because he's on a short-term deal with the AEW, and he had been loudly talking about how his plans for when he returns back to the WWE. So it's kind of like he's gone there knowing that it's small scale or a step down, knowing that he wants to get back. Have you heard anything about how short of a deal that is, or what his reputation is backstage?
I don't know of anyone that has a problem with him. I'm not sure what the specifics are of his AEW deal, but I mean, you just look at how he's being used right now in AEW. The fans all marked out for him. They all touted how this guy's been held back, just like all the others, coincidentally, from that WWE system that in actuality protected them in a lot of cases. But they've been held back by this evil WWE empire. Now they can come to AEW and everything is wonderful. We love everybody. You get to do whatever the hell you want on live TV. You cut your own little promo. And it, just retarded.
Yeah, that's right. This CM Punk stuff, it's because I don't like him, and we get a little hate for doing our CM Punk episode. But the fact is, a lot of our predictions turned out to be true. He hasn't changed the world. The ratings have not gone up. I did think at the time, to be honest, that we were going to be proven wrong. I thought it was going to be like a much higher rating, but it's just not. And I think it's like the case of, it's like if your favorite singer joins a band you hate, like a fucking, I love Oasis. If Noel Gallagher joined Coldplay, it's still shitty Coldplay songs. Doesn't matter who's in it. And I think that the brand of AEW is tarnished. And I just think that that's it. Like, I think that they're it's a lot like The Walking Dead, where the best episode of The Walking Dead was episode 1, season 1. And from then on, quality-wise, everything took a drop. And you've moments here and there of good. Last week's Walking Dead was fucking incredible, for example. But I think that I just think that it's wrestling isn't popular, and it's hanging in there. But I think that this AEW came in decades too late.
It's very similar to ECW in some ways, in that it has a cult following. It's sort of a hardcore fan audience. But that being said, I think that's where the comparisons end. They both had those cult followings, but ECW was, I think, a launching pad for a lot of serious all-time great careers. Just not this sort of, pussy style wrestling that we see, like Marco Stunt punching people and they're actually selling, like they wouldn't just swat him like a fly. How would I book Marco Stunt? Well, I wouldn't have hired him, but I'd certainly put him in a midget throwing contest on live TV on Dynamite and see the biggest guys on the roster, like the most fucking massive roided out Brian Cages. Get him out there and let him throw Marco Stunt as far as they can on live TV. And maybe the winner is the FTW champion. I don't know.
Well, the only positive that we got off from this is, we don't have The Sopranos anymore. We don't have Walking Dead in the glory days anymore. Breaking Bad is gone. But we do have the roads to the top.
Oh, God. Out of morbid curiosity, I checked out some of this show. So bad. It's like a Walmart ripoff of Miz and his wife's reality show.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It really is.
That's exactly right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this and I'm like, Brandy is as fake as Pamela Lee's tits. I mean, that's the first problem. There's no authenticity whatsoever. And then you've got Cody, who, loves his tattoo so much, so he does everything he literally fucking can on TV to cover it up. Yeah, that's like, remember that guy with it was in one of the movies, I can't remember, but he's got no regrets, like no regrets.
Yeah.
Misspelled.
Yeah.
That's Cody's tattoo. He's got a lot of regrets, I would bet.
Do you think that the Cody and Brandy thing, that is what AEW thinks makes up for the fact that they are a racist company?
Well, they would certainly like to position it that way because they do actually position themselves like, we're the company where minorities should be going, right? And then they really do heavily promote, of course, Brandy and Cody. And she's the first Black executive in wrestling who literally got her job because of her husband. And that's it. Right? So, yeah, I mean, the reality show is a joke and they just don't seem like it's coming off very, very phony to me, what they're doing on the reality show.
Well, it sounds like they're wrestling with reality.
See what you did there. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know what that is. So as we wrap it up here, so two things we've learned today. Number one, AEW is racist. And number two, dirt sheet writers will always be social justice warriors. They'll always be snowflakes. They're mostly on the AEW payroll. Nyla Rose is a man.
With a penis.
Yep. Big penis from what I've heard too. I mean,
Really?
that's why it has a big flap to cover it. But we're not allowed to talk about that.
Well, we knew that.
Flap.
And the worst was when she was in her fucking matches. I'm taking over your clothes. I'm sorry, Rob. She would, just like have that thing in front to cover up. I don't know if she's getting boners. Maybe she's not, but she's covering a little something up there. It's like Captain Winky, if you saw Ace Ventura. I mean, that's what she's doing. Finkel the Einhorn. And she's literally covering up the piece. But then, she'll take a bump and the thing flops up and you're like, oh shit. Just please fucking defocus from that camera angle immediately.
Hopefully she's not in the AEW swimsuit calendar in 2022. Because anyway, you looked confused by that. Did you not know that she had a penis?
I didn't even know they had calendars.
That's fair. Brad, we appreciate you being here. We'd love to have you on again. There's much more stuff we can tackle into. I know you hate everybody on Twitter.
I'm a big meanie pants.
You are.
That.
You are the destroyer of lives. You are a QAnon Proud Boy Marxist nut. Whatever other people call you, shit stain, big turd. You have a lot of fans.
Runs the gamut.
Yeah. Where can we find you on Twitter?
Well, you can find me at It's Brad Shepard, SHEPARD. Maybe you'll love my wrestling takes. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll love my political takes. Maybe you won't. But it's kind of entertaining either way, which is the point.
Tell everybody know about your projects and your podcasts because you are a multimedia giant.
Oh, yeah. I'm a huge conglomerate. And so I guess I want to plug once again the Big Vito Patreon that we do as part of course, I Mean Media. But it is patreon.com/Big V Mafia. We do a lot of cool content there. Vito is an OG, like I always tell people. He's not a gimmick. He was that character in real life. And man, so it's really cool to be able to chop it up with him and talk about wrestling and other things every week. So follow me there. And of course, airportappeal.substack.com. Sometimes I write some things and they may trigger you.
You think? You also have a political podcast, if you want to mention that.
I do, what it really means. And so what we try to do is we try to take the most important news stories every week and kind of break down what they really mean, because we know people don't have, the time of day to keep super connected always to political things, stories, what's going on, getting through the BS. So that's what we try to do. And we're available on like every platform.
Mr. Hughes, what about you? What you got going on?
Well, what I've got going on is my campaign to have non-white wrestlers pushed in AEW solidarity. Couple of things. Check out the It's Hughezy Hello podcast. There's a whole bunch of shit coming up. I've got if all goes to plan, there'll be quite a big wrestling guest literally coming. I'm not going to pay him if that's what he asked for. So that's why I don't want to name names.
Just Incredible charges $50 if that's what you're thinking of.
Damn it.
Right.
It's such a vast career to ask to.
All right.
You can find the video versions on Hughezy Entertainment on YouTube. Don't forget to troll the comment section to bump up the views. Speaking of pro wrestling and YouTube, check out Keeping It 100 Official on YouTube. That's the official Conan Disco Inferno podcast, which just today uploaded a 22-minute long video where Conan and Disco talk about all the behind-the-scenes power struggles between the EVPs and Tony Khan. Conan starts opening up about certain conversations that he had with Tony Khan about his frustrations with some of the shit going on back there, about how apparently Tony Khan maybe isn't behind a lot of the hirings that go on in AEW and stuff. It's pretty interesting. And also, don't forget to check out Get My Go, which is back on a reduced schedule for most people, but also spam those comments because Mike Durband works hard and we want to get him some ad revenue.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Rad Rob Gaming. Check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Rad Rob Gaming. I stream every Tuesday night and Saturday night, 6 p.m. Central. You can also check out my other podcast, RTW Main Event. That's my comedy podcast with Ocho's favorite comedian. Hughezy's favorite. They love each other. It's a love affair. Hughezy's favorite comedian, the Ocho. That drops every Thursday. RTW Rewind's kind of on a hiatus, but we will be back soon. That drops every Sunday on Hameen Media Group. I also have a bowling podcast. I know Brad's a big bowling fan, so...
yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of balls.
Yes. Well, are we all?
And I like holes.
Well, there you go. Straight up...
And I like gutters.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Straight up five.
I like it, and I like a nice set of pins.
Let me know when you're done. Straight up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. drops every Friday. And my political podcast with Drake Wirtz, former WWE NXT referee, who was fired for his political beliefs and, well, for being white. He got fired by Woke Wrestling Entertainment, and he's now here to tell all about it. Uncancelled with Drake Wirtz can be found on patreon.com/uncanceledpodcast. The podcast does drop for free every Friday, but if you want to see the video version ad-free and early on Tuesdays, check us out at patreon.com/uncanceledpodcast. For the higher tiers, we will have the Inside NXT special where you will hear all the stories from NXT from his 7-year run as a referee and in talent relations. He's not looking for another run. He will tell you all the stories that nobody else have the balls to say. So please check us out on patreon.com/uncanceledpodcast or check out the audio version every Friday for free anywhere podcasts are found. Until then, guys, we appreciate your support. Bradley, good to have you here. Hughezy.
Always employing whites. That's what I should have called AEW.
A good one.
We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time on Dork Side of the Ring. Thanks, guys.
Fuck these bitch ass Mars. Fuck these bitch ass Mars.